a little bit of a balance challenge, both feet on the ground, but if you'd rather be nearer to the wall, then feel free to reach over. Parallel legs, so toes, second toes are running forwards, and then lifting up to your tiptoes to hover up from the floor, and then lower to let your heels land down again. Another of these, just the same. So lifting up, your heels are lifting up from the ground, and then heels land back down. Adding on to make it slightly more challenging. So balls of your feet stay on the floor as they are. Lift up with your heels, so heels are lifted. Bend through your knees, so crouching down as low as you can, keeping your heels lifted, and then heels press down, usually a bit of a calf stretch, and then press into your legs to come back up to stand. So we'll try another, lifting up to your tiptoes, bend through your knees as you travel down, heels land down, and then press to come up to stand. One more in this direction, so heels come up, bend through your knees as you travel down, heels land down, and press into your legs to reverse the direction. So heels stay down, bend through your knees to travel down, to lift up with those heels, and then press through your legs to stand up, and heels land down. Two more this way. So heels are flat to bend to your knees, lift up with your heels, press into your legs coming up, and heels land down. One more time. So bend, heels lift, press up, and land to lower. To try moving for 3 of our, almost like a squat, but with your heels lifted. So bit of a balance challenge, bit of a leg challenge. Heels lifted from the floor, so keep your heels lifted. Bend through your knees, just like before, to travel down. Keep your heels lifted as you stand all the way up to come back. To try again, so keep your heels lifted if you can. Bend as you travel down. I've got spaghetti arms, you might not need spaghetti arms, they might be elsewhere. And then push through your legs to come back up. One more time, so heels are still lifted. Bend through your knees, maybe, to come down. And then push through those legs to come all the way back up. Oh, well done. Land to let your heels touch down. And that little shake out to shuffle, to step your feet quite wide apart, so they're wider than your shoulders as you're landing. Toes turn slightly out to the side, to bend into a plie squat from here. So as low as is comfortable for your knees, stay higher if you need to. Starting and standing, bend through your knees, lowering so your hips are traveling down and arms reaching forwards, and then press through your legs as you come back up to stand. As you're standing, super glue your feet to the floor so they're not actually moving, but think of them dragging closer together. So they're staying where they are, but think of them pulling in. So starting tall, bend as you start to travel down. So arms are reaching forwards as you press through your legs coming back up. Pull together, not actually moving, just feel all that extra activity. And then bend another to travel down, and press, pull those heels, pull them as if they're coming together. One more time to travel down, and pull those legs together, they're stuck to the floor to come back up. Lower to travel down. One hand land towards your leg, and the other hand sweep over, extending through that knee, so long through your knee. To come back through your middle, hands land to your knees, and then reach up and over as you bend to the second side. To come back through the middle, one more each way. To reach as you stretch long, to come back and reach, to stretch up and over, to come back through the middle and stand tall through your legs, lifting to come back up. So last ones, back with our arms reaching forwards, and this time lifting one heel and then the other heel lifting from the floor. So stay tall, stay lifted at your collarbones, bend as much as is comfortable through your hips, through your knees, Ready to lift one heel up and touch back down. Second heel lifting up and lower. Back to the first heel, lift and down, lift and lower. For one more here, and then second leg, lift up, land, press through your legs to come all the way back up to stand. To lift one heel, stay with that heel lifted. Arms travel forwards as you lower down. Keep the same heel lifted as you press, coming back up to stand. To lower, to travel down, and then press to stand. Last one. Stay low, stay lifted with that heel, and tiny little pulses. So a little lift up and lower down. Keeping your heel lifted from the floor to travel up and lower for 3, for 2, last one. Lower, lift all the way up, land with that heel. Second side, so heel is lifted from the floor to travel down and press in that leg to come back up. So keep your heel lifted to travel down and press to stand. One more to travel down and stand, to add the little pulses on this next one. So travel down, hold, that little lift up and lower, lift and lower. Travel that little distance, keeping your heel lifted from the floor for 3 and 2, last one. Lift all the way up, land with your arms, with your legs, keeping your feet wide apart. Feel free to draw them slightly narrower if you wish to try a roll down to curl forwards from here. So standing tall, upright as you begin, nodding through your chin, rounding through your upper back. Let your arms dangle from your shoulders so you're curled forwards, reaching low towards the floor. If you need a bend in your knees so your fingertips can touch down, let your knees bend so fingertips are touching down towards the floor. Keep one hand low to the ground and the other arm lift and twist as you reach up with that hand to send it high towards the ceiling. To come back down, both hands are low to the floor, and then second arm, second side, as you lift with that arm, twisting as you stretch up, and then return to come back down. One more to each side, so sweep up with your arm as you lift to twist open, to land down, second side, last one, sweep up with that arm as you lift high, to come back, both hands are low to the floor. Walk both hands over towards one side. So you're walking your hands over. Maybe you can reach your foot, maybe it's your knee, but reaching over to that side and pull yourself in a little further. So a bit of a balance challenge, a bit of a leg stretch as you're holding. To walk your hands over to the second side. Last one here, so walk over to that other side. Maybe it's your foot you can reach, maybe your shin, maybe your knee, anywhere, and pull yourself in towards that leg as you stretch. To come back with your hands towards the middle and then unraveling to come back up to standing. So coming up from your roll down, building all the way through as you unravel to stand, and then walking your feet in to bring them back towards hip distance. Ready for our normal roll down to curl forwards. So second toes there looking forwards, stand tall through your legs, find that lift at your collarbones, taking your breath in and nodding through your chin. Let your upper back round, hands and arms are loose as they dangle from your shoulders, curled as you stretch forwards over the top of your legs to reach down. Taking your breath in down here, and as you exhale, lift through your tummy, rolling all the way back up as you unravel to stand tall. To shuffle on the mat so you've got plenty room stretching forwards in front of you. To add the stretch in our hamstrings focus. So feet are still parallel, a little shoulder distance, hip distance or so. Tall as you're standing, nodding through your chin as you start to curl forwards. rounding over the top of your legs, bending your knees just like before, so let your fingertips touch down to the ground, and then straightening through your legs as much as you can as you press those hips lifting up, and then bend in your knees to soften. To try again, press into your legs as you lift, stretch, sending your hips high, and bend to soften. One more time, press into your legs as you lift to stretch those hips up, and then bend to soften, walking all the way down to land, so your knees land into the floor, your hands in underneath your shoulders, ready to curl into your cat stretch. So rounding with your ribs as they arch up towards the ceiling, pushing the floor away to lift high, and then roll through your spine, pull through your shoulders as you extend forwards. To curl again, so rounding up with your ribs as you lift to arch up, and then roll through your spine as you travel to come down. Adding on the push up with our arms, so curl with your ribs lifting high, to shift your weight back to sit towards your heels, crouching low to the floor, stay low to the ground as you come forwards of your shoulders, and then push into your arms to come back up. So a bit more challenging if you take your knees slightly further away. So a bit more challenging if you want for those arms, curled with your ribs arching high, shift your weight back towards your heels, so that stretch through your underarms down the sides. Stay low to the floor, trying to bring your shoulders in line with your fingertips, so you're right over the top of those arms, and then push to come back up. To try one more time, so curled up with your ribs, shift back with your hips towards your heels, stay low to the floor as you travel forwards, and then push into those arms to come back up. Extending out with one leg, so one leg stretching away, your heel pressing out, strong through those arms. Keep this bottom knee bent, but trying to lift it from the floor. So foot is lifted, strong through your tummy, and lift with that knee to come up from the ground, and then land with that knee to touch back down. So similar, but this time when your knee is lifted, trying to take it across towards the opposite elbow, and then up towards the same side elbow, or stay in the middle. So strong through your arms, lift that knee coming up to tuck over towards your opposite elbow, come back to the middle, and then up to the elbow on the same side, come back to the middle, and land with your knee touching down. To try one more, same leg, same knee is underneath you, strong through those arms, press to lift up, to take your knee towards that opposite elbow, back to the middle, towards the same side elbow as you scoop up, to come back to the middle, land with your knee touching down. The leg that's out long, reach that leg up to the side. So just sweep that leg around. That arm, same as your long leg, is the one that's lifting. The other elbow, lower it to the floor. So opposite from your straight leg, that's the elbow that's down, ready to sweep as you lift, to twist, reaching open, and then tuck through the gap as you reach under and across. To come back, so lifting with your arm as you twist open and tuck through the gap as you reach under, that inner thigh stretch hopefully as well. One more time to sweep up with your arm as you lift, to come back through the middle, reaching out long with that hand to stretch away, to walk up to your hands, so back up onto your hands, curl high with your ribs as they arch up from the floor, go all the way the other way, so tailbone is sticking out behind you, and then shift your weight slightly backwards, and hopefully it's a big stretch all down the inside of that straight leg, to bring your weight onto your hands once more. 1 more of those, so curl up with your ribs lifting high, Roll through your spine, so tailbone is lifted, ribs are low, and then sit your hips back just a little as you stretch. To come back in, bend in with that knee, second leg is reaching out to the side. Ready, that side, that arm is the one that's sweeping up. Same knee that's down, that's the elbow to land to the floor. Other hand ready to reach up to stretch towards the ceiling. And then tuck through the gap as you twist to reach under. Yeah, sweeping up with that arm to lift high and tuck through the gap as you sweep under. One more time to reach up with that arm as you lift high and tuck under, to come back to the middle, walking up to your hands from here, ready to add that curl with your ribs lifting as you arch up from the floor, tailbone lifted reaching away, and then that little shift backwards, so that big inner thigh stretch from the straight leg to come forward. One more time, so curled up with your ribs lifting high, roll through your spine as you travel down, and then shift your hips back. Well done. To come forwards onto your hands, the straight leg reaching out behind you to add our knee lift from the plank. So I'm sure you thought I'd forgotten about these ones. So tucked under with those toes, strong through your arms, ready, just lifting your knee. So hover up to lift that knee as you hold, and then lower to land back down, adding on to reach to the opposite elbow and then up to the same side. So strong in your arms, they're holding you lifted. Hover up with your knee, reaching up and across to the opposite elbow, come back to the middle and reaching up to the same elbow, back to the middle and land to touch down. To try again. So last ones, strong with your arms, pressing to come up from the floor, reach to the opposite elbow, back to the middle, reach to the same elbow, back to the middle and land to touch down. Bringing both knees in and roll around to land with your hips to find the floor, feet resting up in front of you. To move and draw circles from your wrists. So trying to roll through your wrists and create those circular movements, and then reverse the direction, so go both ways. And then to interlace loosely with your fingers, so not like a tight fist but loosely, and then roll through, so you're creating that up and like a wave through your wrists. And then reverse the direction, see if your brain can let you. Well done. And then to soften with your arms, ready for our seat curl to scoot backwards. So tall as you're stacking up from the floor, sitting high on those sitting bones, taking your breath in and tailbone curling under as you scoop to round backwards. Soft with your shoulders from your ears, ready to reach high with those hands lifting up. Sweep open to tap your pinky fingers towards the floor, lift back up to the ceiling and tap forwards to your knees. To lift your hands high, sweep open to tap towards the floor, lift up and tap forwards. Last ones, to lift up, reach open, to come back and forwards to your knees, curl forwards and then lift to come back up from the floor, ready to twist to rotate to each side this time. So tall as you're lifted from the ground, tailbone curling under as you scoop backwards, crossing over loosely with those arms, so hand to hand, to stay curled back and rotate as you look round towards the first side. Sweep open with those arms as they press towards the space behind you. Bring your hands in and then cross round to the second side to sweep and press open. To come back, Return through the middle, try and curl a little bit further as you roll back. Turn as you reach up and over. Sweep wide with those arms reaching out to bring them in. Over to the second side to twist. And wide with those arms to come back. Back to the middle. Stay here, ready to twist. Reach open with your arms. Turn your hands over to reach up above your head. Back out wide with those arms. Cross them in. Last side, second side, so turn all the way over, reach open with those arms, turn with your palms, sweep towards overhead, hands out wide, crossed in front, and then returning to curl all the way forwards, catch hold of your legs, and lift to come back up from the floor. Adding on with your legs to lift and lower from here. So tall as you're starting, tailbone curling under as you scoop to roll back. Hover up with those arms to lift with one leg and hold that leg steady. So trying to keep that floating leg up. The leg on the floor to try and lift with that leg and then lower the same leg. So the second one to move is tapping back down to lift coming up and tap to touch down. One more time. To lift up with that leg, to lower down. Stay back here with your body, switching over so your second leg is still, ready to move that last leg to travel up and tap back down. For 2, lifting up and lower. Last one to lift up, tap down and down. Catch hold of your legs, curl to come forwards. Turning so the soles of your feet are looking together, knees resting open to either side. Pull up tall from the floor as you're sitting, and then use the strength of your arms to pull you forwards to stretch a little more into that space. To lift, coming back up, shuffling with your heels a little closer towards you. Pull up from the floor and fold forwards as you stretch to lean down. To lift, coming back up, returning your knees back towards the middle, swivel, shuffle so you've got plenty room, ready to roll to the space behind you. Tucked in with your hands at the back of your knees. Tall as you start, so use your arms to help you sit lifted from your collarbones. Lead with your tailbone, so trying to create that curl in your lower back as you begin to roll down towards the floor. Smooth movement, bring your legs along with you. Control the roll, momentum wants to take over to roll down and land with your head to rest to the ground. Ready to come back up. So taking your breath in, and as you exhale, nodding through your chin, tip down with those toes, curl all the way through as you roll, coming up from the ground. Reach long with your legs, lifted with those arms as they stretch up, to bend with your knees, curl to roll back down towards the floor, reaching overhead with those arms out behind you, to curl up again, taking your breath in, and as you exhale, sweep forwards, peel from the ground, reach through your arms, through your legs as you lift up, bending with only your knees, so knees bend in, and then like our toe taps, to tip one toe down and bring it back up, and then second toe down to bring it back up, our second foot. One more from each side to tap and return up. Last side, tap and return. Keeping your legs here, curl your upper body to roll back towards the floor, reaching overhead with those arms out behind you. Place one foot down and the second foot down, stretching out long with your legs to reach away. So still lifting up to our teaser, either bending with your knees and then kick them out long, or more challenging to lift straight legs up from the floor. So see how you feel. Taking your breath in, and as you exhale, reach with those arms, peel your head, your shoulders. As your shoulder blades lift, either bend in with those knees to kick them out long, or with both legs lifting to come up from the floor. And the same on the way down. So either bend your knees or with straight legs. So roll as you travel back, reaching over with those arms. Maybe straight legs are lowering, maybe bend in your knees and slide to reach out long. We'll try again. So I'll lift straight legs, but feel free to bend them, bend your legs. Taking your breath in, and as you exhale, reach with your arms, lift your head, your shoulders. As you start to lift, float with those legs coming up from the floor. Again, bend your knees if you need. Roll back down, trying if you can to keep your legs long. That last challenge as you land to rest to the floor. To try one more, just the same, bent knees or straight legs. Taking your breath in, and as you exhale, reach with your arms, peel from the floor, bend your knees, straight legs lifting, either or to hover up and hold. Catch hold of your legs, land with your feet touching down, slide your legs out long, lean in on your hands, and that little lift, shuffle, rock and roll, squeeze, anything you need to loosen off from those hip flexors. Working hard for those ones. So legs that are stretched out long in your arms reaching forwards to curl just part way back to the floor. So tailbone curled under, roll part way back. So hold where you can still come back up from the floor to add the lift up with those arms, and then bring your hands back again. To try again, reaching up with your arms and bring them back. One more time to reach up with those arms to bring them back and curl forwards over the top of your legs. Catch hold wherever you can reach to, and then bend in as you stretch to lean forwards. To lift, coming back up from the floor, to step your feet a little wider apart, so they're probably about the width of your shoulders as you're looking in on the inside of your mat, so they're inside the line of your mat. To try the same, curl part way back and see if it feels the same, different. So tall as you're starting, long through your arms, curl as you start to roll down, scoop to hold back here, reaching as you lift those arms high and lower to come back down. To reach up with your arms and lower down. One more time to reach up with those arms to lower down. This time roll down to the floor. So roll all the way back. Reach over with your arms behind you. Keep your feet that shoulder distance so they're slightly wider than usual. Ready to curl up from here. So taking your breath in, and as you exhale, reach through your arms, peel up from the floor, curl as you fold forwards. One hand to lower slightly and reach towards the opposite leg. So one hand across to the opposite leg. Let the other one come down on top and pull yourself over towards that side. So maybe you can reach your knee and you're pulling in. Maybe it's your foot and you're pulling in to soften the stretch and change to the other side. So cross, land on the opposite leg, second hand is on top, and then pull yourself in as you twist and stretch more to that side. To come back through the middle, long with both arms forwards, ready to roll down to stay down this time. So tailbone leading the way, curl as you scoop, rolling all the way back to land, reaching over with those arms to stretch to the space back behind you. Keep your legs stretching out long, but bring your hands in, interlaced with your fingers, hands tucked in behind the back of your head, ready to lift just your head, your shoulders, so just your chest lift. Taking your breath in, and as you exhale, curl just your head, your shoulders rounding to hold here. One leg, lift that leg up towards the ceiling and then lower to hover just before the floor. Same leg is lifting up and lower, stop just before the floor to lift up and lower. Land with that leg. Second leg ready to reach up towards the ceiling and stop just before the floor to lift up and lower. One more time, lift up with that leg to lower down and land. Rest with your head to land all the way to the ground. So with each leg, trying to draw a semicircle, a D, 2 Ds back to back as we're moving. Head and shoulders lifted the same, so taking your breath in, curl as you lift your head, your shoulders rolling up. First leg is lifting up through the middle and then circle down to come back to the middle. So we're lifting up the center, that's the straight part, and then around the semicircle to come back. One more this way to lift up and around towards the middle. Reverse the direction to sweep around to the middle and down the center. Reach around to come up and down. One more time, half circle around to come up and all the way down to land. Switching over to the second leg. So second leg is lifting up through the middle and circle around to come back to lift up the middle and circle around to come back. One more, lifting up and circle around, reversing your circle, so out to the side to come up and down through the middle. Reach out to come up and down. One more, reaching out to lift up, to lower all the way down to land. Rest with your head to find the floor, hands landing forwards in by your hips and folding with those knees so your heels are tucked in close towards the end of your fingers, ready to lift into your bridge. So hips lifting up from the ground. Taking your breath in, and as you exhale, tilt through your pelvis, peel up from the floor as you lift with your hips, reaching up and over with your hands, your arms to stretch out behind you. Keep reaching those arms away as you roll all the way down to land to the floor, and then push forwards, press against resistance to bring your hands all the way down to land to the floor by your hips. To try another, taking your breath in, ready, tilt through your pelvis, squash the space behind your lower back, keep that tuck of your tailbone, keep it happening as you lift your hips up, reaching over with those arms to the space back behind you, and roll all the way down to land to the floor, and press ahead with your arms to come back. Keep your hands resting to the floor, this time adding a march with your legs, so switching one leg and the other, and keep your knees bent whilst we're up in our bridge. So taking your breath in, ready, tilt through your pelvis to roll up from the floor, aiming to keep your hip bones nice and still and stable, lifting up with one leg, keep the bend in your knee to land with that foot down, and then second leg is coming up and land. Another to lift the first leg and land, second leg and land. One more, march from each side, lift up and lower, second leg, lift up and lower, roll all the way down to let your hips land to find the floor. Feet are resting down, interlace with your fingers once more, and hands tucked in behind the back of your head, ready to lift with your head, your shoulders curled up, hover up with one leg, second leg lifting from the floor, ready to tap with one toe forwards, reach that leg a little further and bend to bring your knee back. Second side, so tap down, reach out long and bring your knee back. To tap down, extend and back. Tap down, extend and back. One more from each side. To tap, reach long, return last leg, tap, reach and back. Keep those knees lifted, rest with your head to land back down to add our bicycle pedal, sweeping with those legs. So taking your breath in, and as you exhale, lift your head, your shoulders from the floor, reaching up with one leg, sweep that leg forwards as you switch to the second leg to sweep around and through. So one leg long, one knee bending in, big circles, really long straight legs as you sweep and sweep. Last one to reach, bend in once more with both knees, roll down with your head to land to the floor to reverse the direction. So taking your breath in, ready, lift your head, your shoulders curled, rolling up to tip down with one foot, reach that leg out long, sweep up as you send the second leg out long across the floor, sweep round to lift up and through. Big long sweep with each leg, that moment where they're scissor switched long with both legs. Reach round for 2 and back, and then last one, sweep and sweep. Bend in with both knees, rest with your head to land, placing one foot to the floor and stretch up with your second leg towards the ceiling, ready to add our arm arcs forward. So taking your breath in, ready, lift your head, your shoulders curled up, reach long with those arms, lift a little bit further, hands come back to your head and roll down to land. Reach forwards with your leg out long, ready to lift as you curl up from the floor. Reach out with those arms, lift a little higher, hands come back to your head and roll down. Once more, a little lower with that leg, ready to curl coming up from the ground. Reach long in those arms, lift a little higher, hands come back to your head and roll down, lifting with your leg towards the ceiling, ready to sweep this leg forwards. So nodding through your chin as you curl up, sweep forward with that leg and heel lifting up. Sweep to reach forwards and lift. One more time, sweep that leg out to lift up and roll down with your head to land. Switching over so your second leg is long towards the ceiling. Arm arcs from here, so taking your breath in, ready, lift your head, your shoulders curled up, reach out with those arms, lift a little higher, hands come back to your head and roll down to land. Reach that leg a little further ahead to curl up from the floor to lift. Reach out with your arms, lift a little higher, hands come back to your head and roll down. Even lower with your leg, ready, curl up from the floor. Sweep forwards, lift a little higher, hands come back to your head and roll down to land. Top leg reaching up, our sweep from here, so nodding through your chin as you curl forwards. Reach that leg out long and lift back towards the ceiling. Sweep forwards and lift. Once more, sweep forwards to lift. Keep that leg tall. Roll down with your head to land. Reaching so both hands catch somewhere at the back of that top leg. Ready to lift with your head, your shoulders. The bottom leg, the foot on the floor. Reach that leg out long. Ready, slow and controlled as you switch to catch your other leg and switch to catch your leg. Big, big sweep as much as you can, the pull with those top arms as they stretch your leg towards you and stretch in. Last one from each leg to catch, hold, bend in with this knee, let your head rest to the floor. So one leg is long, one knee is bent. Keep your head resting and switch to pull your second knee in and reach out with that leg to pull as you switch in and reach long. To switch and switch, reach and back, switch and switch. For 3 and switch, for 2 and switch. Last ones, switch. Bend in with both knees, hug both knees in close. Interlace with your fingers, hands tucked into the back of your head, ready for our crisscross. So same legs, just turning your upper body from each side. So tabletop with those legs, ready to lift your head, your shoulders, turn to look over to one side, the side you're looking to. Keep that knee in close and send the other leg out long, ready to twist towards your bent knee and twist to reach across. Twist up and over and twist to come back. Reach across and back. Twist and twist. Across and back. Over and back. For 3 and switch. For 2, switch. Last ones across. Back to the middle. Rest with your head. Place one foot, place the other to land. Forwards with those arms to rest down by your hips. Glue your knees, your ankles in together and roll with those knees to tip across to one side as you gently twist. And then press your knees over the middle, both legs traveling across to the second side as you rotate. To try one more. So across the middle with those knees as you twist and over the middle across to the last side to twist, to come back. Ready for our double leg stretch. So one leg and the other hovered up, hands catch hold to your knees, lift your head, your shoulders rounding up, ready, both arms, both legs, reach out long and wrap to squeeze those knees in. To reach out long and sweep to your knees. Stretch out and wrap round. To reach and back. Sweep out and back. For 2 and around. Last one. Reach to catch hold of those knees. Rest with your head to land. Squeeze your knees in and that little rock from one side to the other to try our tip to balance over on one side. So hands are starting off just at your knees, head stays low to the floor. Reach with your arms, your legs out long. Glue your legs together as you tip to one side to balance over on your hip. Come back through the middle, bring those arms in, bring your knees in. Second side. Reach long and tip to balance on your hip as you reach across and roll around to return, coming back. One more each way, so long and tip to your balance to stretch, to return, to come back. Second side, reach long and tip to your balance to hold, to come back through the middle. Catch hold of those knees, last squeeze in, ready for our 100. Hovered with those legs, hands reaching out down past your hips, ready to nod as you lift your head, your shoulders, maybe adding the reach with those legs and breathing in, 2, 3, 4, 5 and out, 2, 3, 4, 5 and in, 2, 3, 4, 5 and out, 2, 3, 4, 5 and in, 2, 3, 4, 5 and out, 2, 3, 4, 5 and in, 2, 3, 4, 5 and out, 2, 3, 4, 5 and in, 2, 3, 4, 5 and out, 2, 3, 4, 5 and in, 2, 3, 4, 5 and out, 2, 3, 4, 5 and in, 2, 3, 4, 5 and out, 2, 3, 4, 5 and in, 2, 3, 4, 5 and out, 2, 3, 4, 5, last one, 2, 3, 4, 5 and out, 2, 3, 4, 5. Bend in with your knees, rest your head low, long with your legs stretching out, big reach up and over as you stretch over with those arms. To bring your hands back in by your hips, fold in with your knees and roll round to land over to your side, pressing all the way up to your hand on the underneath side. So if your wrist isn't comfortable, remember you can be on your elbow just like usual. So feel free to be on your elbow. Hand is a little more stability challenge for your shoulder. So either or, both is working hard. From here, both knees are tucked in. Give yourself a little bit of room. So they're not as tight as you can be. They're a little bit longer away. Ready to press down through your knees to lift your hips from the floor, following that gesture of your arm up and over. So taking your breath in, push through the bottom arm, lift up with your hips as you reach up and over, that big bend to the side, and then return to land to come back down. So we can stay here with our knees bent in, or more challenging with your legs out long. If you've got your legs long, bring the top leg forwards. So with long legs, top leg is forwards. With bent knees, it's on top. So strong in that bottom arm, strong through your legs, sweep up with the arm, that big side bend as you reach up and over, and then lower with control as you land to come back down. One more time, bent knees, bent elbows, anything that you need to. Last one. So strong as you follow your arm, push the floor away, lifting as you reach to sweep up and over to bend, and then control the lower, challenging for that bottom shoulder as you lower, coming down. Bend in with your knees, so knees are stacked once more. Top hand taking over, so top hand is touching down to the ground. Scoop the bottom arm out of the way so it's tucked in against you, to bend through your elbow as you lower that shoulder, and then push the floor away as you come back up. To bend, lower your shoulder down and push into the arm coming back up. Last one. To bend as you lower, push through that arm to come back up. Return your bottom hand up to support your head, and bend all the way down to land to rest in to the floor. So bottom arm is tucked in, supporting your hand is supporting your head. Knees are slightly further up in, so they're really tucked in towards you. Top arm reaching out forwards, and lift that arm up towards the ceiling, looking at your fingertips. Twist as you rotate open, so your rib cage is turning towards the ceiling as you stretch your arm away, and then close your book over, supporting your head, supporting your neck the whole time. To try again, so long arm is sweeping up towards the ceiling, hand stays with you, so follow with your fingers, follow your gaze, follow your fingers with your gaze as you twist to reach open, and then close to return to bring that hand back. Last one, so last sweep, hand leads the way so far, and then twist with your ribs as you open towards the space behind you, and close your book over as you return to land. Bending with your arm, lifting all the way up to change round to the second side to try all over again from here. So long through that bottom arm if that's comfortable. You can do all of them down on your elbow. So if your wrist isn't happy, go down to your elbow. Strong through that bottom arm, Knees, rather than being tucked in, are slightly elongated away. Follow your arm, so push down to lift into the side bend. Really try and lift that underneath waist so you're bending over as you stretch across, and then sweep through to bend to land back down. Maybe with long legs, so keep your knees bent if you prefer, or stretch them out a little further forwards. If your legs are long, top leg comes forwards. So top leg forwards if they're long. Follow your gesture arm strong with the one on the floor to lift as you reach up and over. Keep thinking of that lift through the underside, so really lifting into the bend, and then control the lower. So lower is just as important to land down. Well done. To try last one, just the same. Taking your breath in, use your exhale, push up from the floor as you lift into that side bend, stretching across, and sweep to come back. Control the land, looks great. To touch down, top hand landing into the floor, and bottom arm is scooping out of the way. So top hand only touching down. To bend as you lower your shoulder down, and then push through the arm to come back up. To bend as you lower down, and push to come back up. One more time. To bend, lower, push to come back up. Taking your bottom hand tucked in to support your head. And the last lower, everything's a little heavier. See if you can keep the control to land all the way down. Shuffle so your hand is supporting your head. Top shoulders are stacked, hips are stacked, and knees, tuck them up a little higher so they're tucked in with you. Arm reaching forwards, ready that big sweep across the ceiling. So look towards those fingers, follow where they're going as they twist towards the space behind you, taking your ribs with you as you rotate around, and then close your book over as you return your hand back to try another. So big sweep with that arm up across the ceiling as you rotate towards the space behind you, and then close your book over as you return to bring your hand all the way back. Last one, sweep with your arm, big reach up and over as you twist to stretch away, and then close all the way, returning to come back. Bending with your elbow, long in both legs, and roll around to land onto your tummy. To shuffle with your hands to create that little pillow for your forehead. So shoulders nice and soft, shrug them down away from your ears, elbows are wide. Taking your breath in, and as you exhale, lifting through the back of your neck, keeping your nose looking towards the floor. So keep looking down as you lift up, trying to get the muscles of your upper back working rather than hanging out at your neck. So long in the back of your neck. Returning back down as you lower towards the floor, adding a bit more strength challenge. So move into the range and then adding with our arms coming up. So long in the back of your neck, peeling up from the floor to lift into your extension. Hold there. Add the lift with your hands, your arms as they hover up. Hands and arms land down, and then all the way down to land back to the floor. To try one more time. So peel up from the ground as you lift. Hover with your hands, your arms coming up from the ground to land back down, and back down to land to the floor. To reach forward and wide with those hands. So hands are out wide like a capital Y, long through the back of your neck. To lift just halfway, so halfway of what you were just doing. Long in the back of your neck, peel and hover up just slightly from the floor, thinking of our diagonal line, so opposite arm and leg as you lift one arm, one leg, opposite sides from the floor, and lower to land back down. Keep the hug through your tummy, so tummy is still switched on as you lift the second diagonal and land to touch down. One more from each diagonal as you lift to hover your arm up and lower. Second side to lift your arm, your leg, land to touch down and lower all the way to rest to the floor. To try adding on lifting one diagonal and the other down and down. So long in the back of your neck, peel to come up from the floor, just lift it slightly. Keep the hug through your tummy. First diagonal is lifting, second diagonal up, first coming down, second coming down. To try again, lifting up and up, down and down. One more, lifting up and up, down and down. Land to rest into the ground. To bring those hands tucked in under your shoulders, elbows hugging into your sides. To try lift an entire swan, but keep it small, keep it low to start with. So see how much movement can you get with no weight in your hands. Long in the back of your neck, shrug up with those shoulders. Reach down with your shoulders, peel through your upper vertebra so there's still no weight in your hands, and then push through your arms to lift into your swan. Stay low if you prefer, and then control the lower, traveling back down, trying to find that same lift just where you took the weight in your hands, and then rest all the way to land to the floor. To try another, so we break it again. Long in the back of your neck, shoulders shrug down away from your ears, peel through those upper back vertebra first. Hands are light, so you're bending open, and then push into those arms to continue that lift as you travel up, and softly control the lower as you land all the way to come back down. So last one, the same movement, but try and put it all together so you're lifting fluidly from the floor. Taking your breath in, and as you exhale, hug through your tummy, peel from the floor. Use the strength in those hands, those arms as you lift coming up, and then lift your tummy back. Fold your hips over your heels, well done. Curled, rounded in on your legs. Reach forward so you're stretching all the other way. Taking your weight forwards onto your hands, tucked under with your toes, and then into that little crouch as you stay low to the floor. Hover with your hands and push into those legs to challenge your balance. Second toes are running forwards, tall as you stand from the floor, soft with your shoulders. Taking your breath in and nodding through your chin, rounding to curl forwards, heavy arms guiding you towards the ground. Maybe you're a little lower than you were before as you stretch in that forwards fold. Taking your breath in, lift through your tummy, roll all the way back up, slowly unravel as you return to stand. To roll your shoulders up, back and around, giving your arms a little shake and your legs, and you're all done.